Well, hello again, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and as a coach, I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of presentations you can view on my website, debsofield.com. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out. More information is available online. I've got a number of books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear, my latest, soon-to-be best-selling book, Perfecting Your Platform, are both on Amazon and Audible. My series, Encouragement for Your Life, a compilation of these podcasts, are also available on Amazon. Just go to Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, and all my books will appear. I've got a great show today. My theme is this: a man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for spending these next few minutes with me. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. I've got to say, I have always loved that quote, and I actually believe it because I see so many people in leadership who spend a lot of time waiting to be in the crowd instead of leading the crowd. No doubt it's hard to turn our backs on the cheering crowd. It seems so fun to be in the middle of it all. But if a man or a woman who wants to lead the orchestra, they must turn their back on the crowd. Why? Because leadership is strengthened when a few willing and wise members who under the guidance of a great leader will learn, watch, and grow, and then produce other great leaders. To use a line from Jack Welch, when you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Not to get caught up in the current political debates going on right now, but it does seem that those who keep reaching to find and slice and dice special interest groups are wasting a lot of time by not speaking directly to the needs of the nation as a whole. Instead of leading, I see so many of them wanting to be liked by this and that fickle segment of the population. And by swinging wildly from one side to the other, I'm not sure we're seeing true leadership, not because they can't do the job well, but because they want to be liked more than they're willing to lead. I also see this a lot on the local political level. Without a doubt, we're seeing what problems manifest themselves when a man or a woman who wants to lead the orchestra does not turn his back on the chattering crowd. You know that leadership is not for the faint of heart. It takes work to develop the inward core of values that we choose to reflect and aspire to, and then, by our actions, have them reflect in our lives. The problem is, when that initial work is not done in the life of a person who wants to be a leader, one day when they look back, they will see that no one is following them. And frankly, if no one's following, then I have to ask, are you really a leader? Or are you simply self-absorbed with visions of grandeur that you hope will come true? Listen, I know it sounds harsh, but the truth is that without followers, you're not leading anyone. This dilemma is not just limited to politics. I see it in business and nonprofit organizations probably the most. Unfortunately, in the end, everyone ends up wrecked on the rocks because very few have the knowledge, organization, and financial mind to step up to the plate, set a direction, and lead. Listen, I know we all want to be liked. But liking someone is a feeling that can just as easily disappear when the next shiny object takes its place. And if that's the case, friend, that's not leadership, but followership of the crowd. And when the crowd goes in the wrong direction, by sheer force, the one who wanted to lead will no doubt be swept away into the middle of the crowd and lose their standing. Unfortunately, we see this all the time. When you believe you have the heart, ability, and strength of leadership, friend, put a stake in the ground and move in the right direction for the good of your organization, instead of waiting to test the winds of change for your next step. Leadership moves forward. Even a slow step in the right direction is still a step in the right direction. I have to admit, one of my favorite waste of time guilty pleasures is Undercover Bosses on TV. And I have to say, I am surprised how clueless the boss is when he or she realizes the values they started their business with are now nowhere to be seen by the employees that have been hired. Why? Probably because in the everyday drudgery and hard work of building a corporation, a few folks in the orchestra decided it was better to be liked than lead. And then it didn't take long for a few misfits to undercut the company's culture because of crowd rule. True leadership sets a strong direction for others to see and follow, and that requires that they explain their vision to the team so everyone can see the end game and not grow weary in the journey, because weariness causes confusion and confusion makes mistakes. I was on a speaking tour recently and sitting in my hotel room catching up on my watching of Undercover Bosses, and this one episode got me thinking about how simple rules of leadership can build or wreck a company. In one episode I watched, three things were very apparent. The boss was fair, he was honest, and he was a strong leader, expecting his team to have his and the company's values and act and live by them daily. He allowed his company to hire a few employees who, due to minor convictions, would have been kept out of most companies due to hiring policies. He and his team were willing to take a chance on these employees. One thing he found was that those who were given a chance all knew the rules of the company and his personal leadership, and they considered him to be their leader in addition to their immediate boss because they trusted the company. When he was working in the field with the employees, he was so taken by the loyalty they showed that he broke down in tears. And not just tears of joy, but tears of understanding that these grateful employees turned their back on the crowd they once hung out with, and they were given a chance by a man and his company whose orchestra they wanted to be in because they trusted his leadership. How about you? Whether you own the company or not, what I want to know is this. Do others trust you enough to follow your leadership? Do they trust you enough to turn from the crowd and leave what they have known to follow you? Have you, as the orchestra director, spent time developing leaders who will, after you're gone, be able to command and respect the loyalty of others that they are currently showing to you? Or are you, like everyone else, wasting valuable time by chasing the crowd and spending your time running to the front of the parade because it looks like leading? But the truth is, that's trickery because they are taking that parade route with or without you. When I think about the theme for today, a man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd, I'm reminded that I've spoken on this topic before, and the reason I keep coming back to this theme of leadership is that as lonely and hard and life-changing as true leadership is, just imagine how great it would be if one good soul would step up and take the reins to corral the crowd and lead them not only to safety, but also success. That's a rare person indeed these days. A rare and needed person for this generation who is desperate for an honest, kind, fair leader who they can follow safely and successfully. Have to admit, my curiosity got the best of me, and I looked to Wikipedia to tell me about the orchestra. Hey, did you know that a smaller sized orchestra of about 50 musicians or fewer is called a chamber orchestra? A full-size orchestra has between 70 and 100 musicians, and they're sometimes called a symphony orchestra or a philharmonic orchestra. Orchestras are usually led by a conductor who directs the performance by the way of visible gestures. The conductor unifies the orchestra, sets the tempo and shape and sound. Now, what I found interesting is really the relatively small number of musicians in an orchestra is how a few people on the stage under the direction of a great conductor can bring thousands of listeners to their feet in applause and appreciation. Just think what you could do if you focused on the orchestra of your company or network or your friends or by your life, your personal leadership standards, and I'll add your principles. You could unify, set, and shape the outcome for a positive ending. But friend, that's only going to happen when you turn your back on the crowd and lead. All right, friends, I'm Deb Sofield, and you've been listening to Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Rockstar Amazing Life. And I hope you'll join me next week so we can continue the journey together as we work towards your success in a better day. And just remember, I don't care what the world says. I want you to know that I care about you. I care about you because I believe you can do big things, and I am going to walk alongside you as we follow that dream together. All right, everybody, take care. See you next week.